Okay. Trying to get this. Okay, I'm sorry, but I like all of the criticism and denial. I don't want everyone else doing this. Elite isn't elite if everyone does it. They can stay stuck in their stubbornness and we will continue to benefit. I agree with that. Once they're exposed to it and they fight it, they're eventually going to get beat by it. Judge's agent says when today's 9-year-olds are big leaguers, what I teach will be widely adopted by everyone. 9-year-old to big league, that's what, 12 years from now maybe? It'll take that long for the stubborn people to warm up to it. They'll have to warm up to it because you who are watching and me who is teaching and the other guys that teach this stuff, we're going to have an army of young kids out there. They're just destroying the baseball by the time they're college age. Okay? If they're starting now at 10, 11, 12 years old and they're getting it, they're growing a swing over all these years. Aaron Judge says, I wish I knew this when I was 12. Well, your kids are learning it at 12. How good are they going to be at it when they're 16 or 18 or when they get drafted? All right? At that point, when we have just an army of kids out there doing it, pro ball is going to have to accept it. They're going to have to learn it so that they can teach it, so they can support it at least. Thanks, Rich. I watched the Alex Rodriguez and Kevin Long hitting DB in high school. It was so bad. I bought it because it had A-Rod's picture on the front, but I finished the program even more confused than when I started. I didn't mention the books I read. I mentioned the videos that I bought, but I bought Ted Williams' book, and it's good. It's so incomplete, though, in terms of what actually does the hitter do. And I bought Charley Lau's book, and it was highlighted George Brett. George Brett was all over that book. And I mean the pictures of George Brett, the positions they had him in. As I'm reading the book, I don't know anything I know now. As I'm reading the book, I said, I've never seen George Brett in that position before. So I'd play his video and I'd say he never was in that position before. And yet, Charley Lau is talking about how good this position is. So, obviously Lau helped Brett. I'm not denying that. But what is really obvious about this whole, to summarize this whole thing, is every instructor has things they hit on, things that they think are important, and they work with some of their hitters and they don't work with other of their hitters. And the reason that is because the actual hitter, whether you're looking at George Brett or Ted Williams or whoever, they're actually doing something else that the instructor doesn't know they're doing. The greatest example of this is Doug Latta and Justin Turner. Justin Turner was just about out of baseball and he was stuck back. He was stuck back. He couldn't get going forward, okay? So he ends up going to Doug Latta, and Doug Latta asks him to get moving forward. I don't know exactly the words, but there's two things that Doug Latta hates or says. One of them he says is right, but it's wrong, and the other one says is wrong, but it's right. The first one is stride to 50-50. You don't stride to 50-50, put your foot down, then swing. No great hitter does that. Justin Turner does not do that. Okay? Doug Latta changed Justin Turner's career by getting him to move forward, to think about getting to 50-50, but Justin Turner had enough experience knowing that he couldn't get to 50-50. I don't know if he consciously thought that or just physically could feel that I can't do that. But the fact that he got him moving forward got him out of being stuck back. The second thing, Doug Latta says hitters don't coil. Well, Justin Turner coils, and he does not go to 50-50. So to summarize this whole thing, I think people who have helped other people, people not involved in Major League Baseball or pro baseball that have helped other people, have keyed in on some issues that are important, and that if a guy comes with enough other stuff correct that the instructor doesn't even know about, what the instructor adds to it will work. And not to toot my horn or anything, but I think I know the whole thing. I think I know why you have to stay one-legged and stay back and yet get forward. I think everything I say is seen in great hitters. When I say seen, you may not be able to see it until you feel it, but once you feel it, you can see it. Okay? Jeff Fry keeps saying, I just don't see the things that I see. And I acknowledge it. I'm 100% sure you don't. And the reason you don't is because you don't swing a bat. If you got up and swung a bat and tried to make yourself look like a hitter like I did for 2.5 years with Barry Bonds, excuse me, you're going to find out some things. I mean, I don't know if I posted, you've probably seen it. I have a video of me trying to duplicate Jim Edmonds. I have a video of me trying to duplicate Ryan Howard. This is way back in the early days. I mean, they're pitiful. They're both pitiful. And I've got video of me duplicating Barry Bonds. It's pretty darn good. Well, I learned a lot. In trying to duplicate the video, a lot of things you believe that you see in every swing don't actually exist. The best example is the rotation, the hip rotation. The hip tilt causes the leg to snap. The leg snap is the rotation, the unwind of the leg, which obviously moves the hip, and everybody in the world calls that hip rotation, and it's not. Yeah, Dana, like Tukes and Donaldson. Tukes is big on this external rotation of the humerus, okay? And when you look at Donaldson's swing, it's way big. His load is way bigger and way sloppier than I think it needs to be. And he gets to the position I want them to get to, where it's supination and adduction often, but he has timing issues because his big move takes so much time to get to that spot. So through the big movements that Tukes taught him, he ended up feeling a position that he's got to get into, and he works real hard to get into that position. He shouldn't have to work that hard to get to that position. And therefore, he's a good player. Don't get me wrong. He's won an MVP before. I have a blog on hittingillustrated.com when Donaldson was in the Home Run Derby. And I forget all the names. I think Chris Bryant was in it. I think Frazier for the Reds. What's his first name? Todd Frazier. I think he won it, if I'm not mistaken. But I think there were 8 hitters there. And I'm not saying all 8 were completely high. I'm not saying the other 7 were completely high level. But Donaldson was the only one doing this big sloppy move. And the article talked about the sloppiness of that and how he ends up in a good position often, but because the move is so big and takes up so much time and the pitching comes at different speeds, that it's a nightmare trying to time that up. Okay?